It's the final day of action in Tour of Wallonie. It's stage 5. We're heading from Chievres to Thuin, and it's a total of 182.6 kilometres for the riders on this final push for glory in this Belgian 2HC category European Tour UCI stage race. Hello and welcome to the final stage with Dylan Thuin holding just over half a minute advantage over Tosh van der Sande, his fellow countryman. Benjamin Thomas, the winner of the first stage, sits handily placed in third overall. What can he do about closing that 39-second gap? Jelle van den Aert is well placed in fourth. Pim Ligtart, Crater, Maurice, Van Tom and the rest as we scroll down through the top 10 and survey the scene over the Walloon region. We've taken in every region and every element of the Walloon part of the world, and it is the Hainaut region today. It's yellow for Dylan Thuin, Alexis Goujar in the white jersey of the Mountains competition, and he's handily placed. The points is also currently held by Dylan Thuin. It's Jempe Drucker that's wearing that jersey on his behalf today after his wonderful stage success yesterday. Heading once more from northwest I should say, down to the southeast. We've got a loop that takes us back towards Thuin, and then that finishing circuit, 2 laps of 12.2 kilometres. We've got to go up the Moor de Thuin. It's a short, sharp shock of a climb, a few cobbles involved, and that's going to be a little bit of added confusion for the riders at the back end of the stage. Picking up the live pictures now, we're into the final knockings of this stage. Look at the tempo on the front of that peloton, because they're already flat chat. The lead-out trains trying to get organised, trying to present their riders into perfect position. I can tell you we reached the finishing circuit with just a little bit less than 25 kilometres left in the stage. We've still got a breakaway group out front. 5 riders ventured fourth shortly after the stage started and managed to make up maximum advantage of 3 minutes and 25 seconds. Alexis Goujar is in there again once more, 4 days out of 5 in the breakaway for the man in the Mountains jersey, sitting third in line here of the 5 riders. And they've got to be a little bit careful, because Thuin, number 144, you'll see him, the Verandas Willems Krellen colours, the blue colours, just second from the back here, just calling for a bottle. This man sits handily placed overall. He's just 1 minute and 31 seconds back. So the peloton need to be mindful. They have got him back inside the distance where he was sitting as the virtual leader of this race. And now with 31.5 kilometres remaining, it's about stalking these 5 riders and seeing can they close it down, retain them and set up what's anticipated to be a group finish. But that finishing climb that they put in there is completed with just 400 metres from the line. 600 metres I should say from the line. The top of the climb comes, and that's going to cause a little bit of confusion for the riders. Miles Scottson on the front of the bunch is setting the tempo for the BMC team and looking after the overall classification needs and wants of Dylan Thuin, his teammate. No surprise that BMC are looking after things on the front. How do you see this one playing out? Brian Smith alongside once more for the final day of action. And Brian, well, how is it going to play out? The Moor de Thuin is going to be interesting.
It certainly is, and you know, we're going to have to wait. The riders will get a chance to see it on a couple of occasions before they finish the third time up. It's 400 metres, and it's actually on pavé as well, so 400 metres, short, sharp climb, and it doesn't exactly you know, level. It kind of continues for another 600 metres to the finishing line. So you can see a lot of teams getting in colour formation, coming to the front because they know when they come into Thuin, hit the climb, that's when the action will start. So it's all about gaining position. The first time over the top of the Moor de Thuin 25 kilometres to go, and then we hit the finishing line 600 metres after that. So it's been a good day, good break, fast pace. We're faster than the fastest schedule so far. The best place doing for Verandas Williams, as you said, Declan, was the best placed at 1:31, a very experienced rider, 5th in June in the Tour of Luxembourg. So one of these riders I've known about for, I think, the last 8 to 10 years. He's always been at kind of the second level, but a very good second level rider. Hasn't kind of stepped too much up to the kind of World Tour, but I think he's capable of that type of that team. But these 5 riders still working well together. maybe the Thuin is the rider probably struggling a little bit. He's been on the deck earlier today as well. Just see he's kind of wrapped up, but he made it into the break, and these 5 riders are pushing hard as they can.
5 riders up front, and they've got considerable horsepower. Lasse Norman Hansen on the front of the peloton there, or on the front of the breakaway group for the Aqua Blue Sport team. Hands over to Alexei Gujar, who's full of fight, and he has pretty much secured the mountains classification. Now it's to see, can he survive to fight for the stage victory. Remains to be seen. Will they hang on? Inside a minute advantage. We're going to get a quick break out of the way. Back to you after these. Charging along in the closing stages of this final stage of Tour of Wallonie, but are they going to be able to hang on? Well, Michael Morkov's not absolutely sure about it, is he? As I said, they've got plenty of horsepower, these 5 riders up front. Alexei Gujar, followed by the best placed man overall in this breakaway group. That's Thuin. Just 1 minute and 31 seconds down. His GC hopes, well, they're pretty much dashed at this point because the charging peloton are now within 3/4 of a minute. So now it's about trying to hang on for stage honours. Can it be possible? Will the bunch behind relent? Here at the back, Thuin is starting to miss a few turns. He's a young man, not particularly experienced in road race cycling, but very, very well known as the European cyclocross champion. And indeed, he has. He's won a UCI one-day race this year. the IWT race in Oettingen. Won it in June, and 6th overall in the ZLM Tour. So Thuin is a rider of some ability. Some riders, though, much enjoying their experience in the Hainaut region of Wallonie this afternoon. Just at the back here, number 22 is Odd Christian Eiking, who's been up in stages. He's had a couple of top 10 finishes in stages already this week. Finds himself distanced by the peloton. That's because they've started to make a little lefts and rights and go down narrow roads, and it's almost Flandrian in its nature in this part of Wallonie. Miles Scotsman, what a job he's doing on the front for BMC. He's been there for a long time now, getting a little bit of assistance from Adam Blythe, who's just come through, and a fantastic second place finish for Adam Blythe yesterday. Just so near and yet so far. It's another top 3 finishing position for the Aqua Blue Sportman, but just missing out. Pipped on the line by Jempi Drucker.
Yeah, it was good, good stage. I think Aqua Blue are looking to do something today. They've already got Lasse Norman Hansen, if you can remember, Tour de Suisse, where he won the King of the Mountains. But yeah, it's interesting to see how they're going to play this. I'm not too sure. Maybe Adam Blythe coming to the front now. He won't be the chosen one. We could see another rider from that team try to battle out for the stage win. But we're into the town now. We'll be swinging up this this climb, and you can just see the riders starting to get prepared for it now.
Yeah, surprised somewhat to see Adam Blythe working for the team as we take the first ascent of the Mur de Thuin. It is Category 2 in Tour Wallonie terms. Not very long at all. It's just 400 metres. Imagine bottom to top. Average of around about 7%. You'll see some websites will state that it's a little bit steeper than that. The real key here, though, is that you've got moss growing up the centre. The big crowd out. It's very typically Belgian, isn't it? And a little bit Flandrian in its nature as well. We've got these cobbles, got the pavé. At least it is dry weather conditions for the riders, and not too long behind. Here comes the bunch onto the beginning of this climb, and once more Scotsman on the front for BMC. He's doing a great job.
Yeah, fantastic job. And just see Adam Blythe just setting up one of his teammates there. But this bunch will start to explode now, because the pressure is really on by BMC.
So BMC have set the tempo. No surprise, they are the overall leaders of this race, courtesy of Dylan Thuin, who took the victory on stage 3. And at the back of the break now, Thuin is starting to struggle a little bit to close the gaps. The 23-year-old European cyclocross champion. Just ahead of him, Michael Morkov. Meanwhile, well, it won't be long before they're mopped up by the bunch, because as they come to the line, it's another grippy little drag up to this finish line that they'll see on 3 occasions. Third time they'll be sprinting for glory. Alexei Gujar almost defied expectations, was caught on the finishing hill on stage 3. It was a steep climb up to the finish, so he fancied his chances of going out front once more and perhaps hanging on. This time round, though, he finds himself now with just 21 seconds advantage, 24 kilometres to go. No doubt about it now that this group will be caught. What's going to happen after that? Look at the way Lasse Norman Hansen, he's a real early break rider. Loves to go up front, loves to go out on the attack, but the 25-year-old Dane, he's one of the top track racers in the world. Third in Dwarfstor West Vlaanderen this year. And his face a picture of contorted agony. Finally they make it across the line, and from the top of that climb, and went from the point where the cobbles end, you've still got that little false flat, and then it rises once more, and that's what brings the average down to 6.8%. I can tell you, at its steepest, this is quite a grippy little climb, and plenty of riders are really struggling. We pick out Jempi Drucker, who's further down the bunch than perhaps he might consider wise. He's wearing the jersey, the green jersey of leader of the points competition, although it should be noted that that is actually held by the man in second position. Dylan Thuin of the BMC team is absolutely flying today. Flew on that climb to the finish on stage 3. It could be another one to suit Thuin.
Very possibly. There's quite a lot of riders, and just see some riders a little bit further back now, unhappy. Gap starting to open, and Adam Blythe just coming through there. He has done his job. Miles Scotsman as well. They've done their job. They've got the riders in a good enough place. They've used this finish before in the Tour de Wallonie a few years ago, and you know, it really kind of splits up on this lap. It's all about positioning, but with 3 climbs, it starts to get a little bit grippy, especially the last time. It's all about positioning. Once you come onto that climb, it's all about positioning, and if you get the big power in the legs, then you can deliver a good win. But after 5 days of hard racing, it's going to be tough. But I think Dylan Towns has got enough of an advantage to take the overall. But certainly, it's going to be interesting to see you at the stage.
Well, Gouchard is doing what he does best. He's on the front, driving it. His breakaway companions are hanging on. How much lower will they hang on? Find out after these.
High sun.
Well, they're hanging on to this half-minute advantage, and Michael Morkov has managed to get himself back onto the front of the breakaway group, put his considerable strength into the impetus to try and retain this half-minute advantage. But with just 20.7 kilometres left on the final stage of Tour of Wallonie, it's going to be tough for these 5 riders to stay out front. Alexis Gouchard has been the most animated. He certainly was the one who got up the Moor de Thuin for the first of 3 ascents with the most facility. As Gouchard, who sits the penultimate rider, 4th in line here of the 5. On the back is Thuin from Telenet Fidea Lines. And ahead of them, Michael Morkov of Katusha in the red. Perhaps the most accomplished rider here, 32 years of age. Lasse Norman Hansen is there as well. Hub Doyne, we've already mentioned. Verendas Willems ready to take up position on the front as it is Lasse Norman Hansen that slots into the front, and Thuin. Well, he's not able to make a contribution at the moment. Lasse Norman Hansen on the front of the 5 riders in the breakaway group. Has a little look around to see how far behind the bunch are. Well, it's just under half a minute. If anything, they extended their advantage. First time up this finishing climb, the Moor de Thuin, in this finishing town of Thuin on the Tour of Wallonie. Stage 5 is coming down to a conclusion. The anticipated conclusion is that we're going to have a big group that amasses on the bottom of that finishing hill, and then they're going to be scattered, and it will be the strongest rider, or the rider that really puts it together well on that finishing climb. Thuin cries enough. It has been an unequal struggle for quite a while now. Hasn't been able to make a contribution, but the cyclocross superstar, the 23-year-old from Belgium, has certainly got some decent road miles in his legs ahead of the cyclocross season to come, and indeed he's got some good results on the road this year as well. Thuin means when he's out of it, he'll be picked up by the bunch within seconds. That makes it 4 out front. Hertz has a little look around, tries to recover for just a few moments, and he'll ride it through to the conclusion of this stage, but not be able to play a part. The bunch behind, well, they're spread wide across the road. There's a sense perhaps, are they just waiting before they do the inevitable deed that is closing this one down, or have the breakaway saved a little bit for the final?
I think the breakaway will always try and save a little bit for the final. They wanted to get here with as much advantage as possible. Very difficult to kind of organise the chase, especially with that climb. It's a difficult circuit. It's fast coming back onto the climb. It's all about positioning. They've used this many times in the Tour de Wallonie. This finish, so a lot of riders will know it. Even as recently as a couple of years ago when Nicky Terpstra won the race, Danny Van Poppel won here, Philippe Gilbert was in second, and Mate Brescia was in third. So just gives you an indication. And on that day, Danny Van Poppel won by 3 seconds, and there was only 9 riders in a group. It came in for second and third that day. So this is going to split up, especially in the last climb. It's a difficult one, but BMC are in control. They're holding the gap about 30 seconds. The only danger is Thuin in front at 1 minute and 31 seconds. But I think they've done a very, very good job today, especially Miles Scottson, who's no longer in the front group. But Ventoso takes it up. A smaller group now. We've been up this climb for the first time. We'll go up at another time on this lap, and then obviously on the finish. But this is this type of climb that you really have to have good position and obviously good power in the legs, Declan.
Kenny van Bilsen on the back of the group. Will his teammate Jonas van Genechten be able to do something? He's from this part of Belgium. Might be a nice opportunity for him to step up front out the back end. He's scored stage victories in the Tour of Wallonie in the past. We see Army de Terre riders moving up on the left-hand side of the road in that camouflage. Don't know how we picked them out. It's a recurring theme this week, that joke. But the Benjamin Thomas is the Army de Terre rider of the week. Dula Saman, you might say. He's performed with distinction, taking that solo victory on stage 1. Look at like Goujart's really charging along. He holds absolutely nothing back. If anyone else wants to make a contribution, he's absolutely delighted to get it, but he's not really thinking about other riders. He just wants to get to the bottom of that hill, and he believes in his own ability to outlast them up the hill. But well, the question is, will they have an advantage when they get there?
Yeah, that's the thing. The gap just kind of hovering in the 30-second mark, but quality riders. This is the rider in the blue here that's the best placed in the general classification, but Goujart in the white jersey is the King of the Mountains leader, and he'll take that competition. He's shown how strong he was. Just failed a couple of days ago when he hit the final climb. With about 30-second advantage. His legs gave out on that big day. But the two other riders, Lasse, Norman Hansen and Morkov, two very strong Danish riders, obviously have done well in the track before, especially at Olympic level and World Championship level. So strong riders. But we're yet seeing Adam Blythe come again, so he's hung on there, and he is helping the charge at the front now. He got a good second place yesterday, so the ex-British champion is getting involved with the chase because they want to try and win the stage.
That's Raybo of the Army de Terre squad. Not a factor in the overall, but his team would like to get him in there to see can he assist Benjamin Thomas, presumably their favoured rider should it come down to it. We've got other riders that have hit puncture difficulty, and that's always bit of a challenge. We come down these narrow roads, they're not always the cleanest. In fairness, the roads have been pretty good today, pretty good all week. In Wallonia they tend to have quite a lot less road furniture than you might encounter in other parts of Belgium. And great to see Adam Blythe back on the front. We saw him drifting back towards the back of the group. He just got enough time to recover, to slot in at the back and then make his way back up. So that was really solid professional work.
Yeah, that's what happens in his experience to know that if you start at the front, you've got some drifting room. So, yeah, he'll know that. But they've got a big job to do, and they want to try and help bring this break back because they've got a stage to win. They came close yesterday with Adam Blythe. Today will be a very different story. But they believe they've got a potential winner. And it's just about positioning because there's no reason for Adam and the rest of the Aqua Blue sport to push hard because they've got a rider in the break.
Lasse Norman Hansen stretches his back. Alexi Gujar stretches his legs on the front. He's really driving along. Inside, 16 kilometres to go now in the final stage of Tour Wallonie, and the Thuin goes through. Michael Morkov next up in the red of the Team Katusha squad. Lasse Norman Hansen, the blue of Aqua Blue Sport. And Alexi Gujar just working his way to the back of the group in the white of the leader of the King of the Mountains classification. He's with AG Tour Le Mondial. Can they send their rider on to glory? Well, it's the Team BMC squad that own the front of the peloton. Other squads have put riders in there, Aqua Blue Sport most notably of late. We've also seen Sport Vlaanderen put a rider up there, and we've seen that now that Team Lotto Jumbo want to try and put a rider on the front of the peloton. But this is absolutely flat out work from the BMC team. They've won this stage in the past on the Moor de Thuin, courtesy of Greg van Avermaet. They've won it overall. They're in a great position overall. They've taken stage victory this week, so it's all good at the moment for Team BMC, and they seem very much in control of their racing.
Yeah, they are. Floris Gertz is the rider at the front. They'll be looking at Thuin as their potential stage winner. Jempe Drucker, from his form yesterday, very capable of getting involved as well in this type of finish. Sport Vlaanderen now come to the front. There's a lot of teams, we've only had 4 stages so far. A lot of teams haven't had too much success out this race, and I'll be desperate for another one. One of the other Lotto Soudal Belgian teams will be looking to try and win the stage. So BMC have taken out 2 stage wins in the last 2 days. Jasper De Boost has won one for Lotto Soudal, and Benjamin Thomas for Armée de Terre. So many teams without anything, any stage wins, and they'll be looking for it. And even earlier on in the run-in, before we came on air, we heard that Wanty Group Gobert came to the front and tried to split the race up in a section, but they've kind of knocked it off, and they've already lost Bonyes. So Bonyes was a non-starter this morning, so I think Wanty Group Gobert would be trying to get something out today's stage.
Yeah, disappointment for them to lose Jérôme Bonyes from their lineup, but they have got Sandro Maurice, who scored a great second place finish on stage 1 and was lying well overall for the first couple of days. He still sits in the top 10, 7th overall at 50 seconds. Can Maurice, the Belgian rider, come up with a decent performance today? They'll certainly be trying to set him up, the Wanty Group Gobert squad. It's Team Rompot now that find themselves on the front. They don't find themselves, they very much plan to be there. They worked their way up to the head of affairs. Good top 10 finish for Koen van Melfort yesterday. But who's going to be able to perform? Well, Pim Ligtard is best placed of their riders, and they've got 2 in the top 10. So they, with Jeroen Myers as well, just 52 seconds back. Pim Ligtard is 5th overall at 44 seconds. So Team Rompot have considerable reason and need and want to be up there as we work our way back into the outskirts of this not particularly large town of Thuin, but it plays host now to the final stage of the Tour of Wallonie, and we're getting set to go up this hill again.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the running. It's fast, it's fairly technical, and so kind of difficult running for the riders, but they get an opportunity to see it. Just coming on to the climb for the second time, a different approach from the first. They came in from the opposite direction and turned left, but they've got a chicane as they come in straight onto the climb. So maybe coming at the climb with a slightly more speed, but the last time up this climb will be the finish, and I think it'll be it's going to be from the years that we've been on this climb. It's going to have to be from the front. You have to be in the top 10 at the bottom of this climb because, as I said, it's 400 metres on this pavé section, 600 metres over the top.
Well, it's Lasse Norman Hansen that's gone out of the break. A little bit of a surprise with the performances of Alexi Gujar. They're paying Mountains points all 3 times up in this finale, but I can tell you Alexi Gujar is home and hosed in the Mountains competition. He had it all but won going into today's stage. It was all about stage honours, and now at Rompot, albeit briefly controlling the front of the peloton, they're mopping up riders from the early breakaway, and it's Lasse Norman Hansen that has gone on to glory. Can it possibly be so? He's got just 17 seconds before riders start to appear towards the head of affairs. No surprise that Lotto Soudal are on the attack.
Yeah, Nicholas Mace here it is on the attack for Lotto Soudal, and you know, you see Lassie Norman Hansen not too far in front. Hub Dunn is still within sight, but Nicholas Mace coming across very, very strongly. Goujard is still there, and you can just see the peloton all strung out now. That was a fast ascent of this climb. As we said just a little bit earlier, it doesn't exactly go downhill. It drags all the way up to the finishing line, but this race is full on. And as we cross the finishing line coming up very soon, we will have one more lap with the finish at the top of this climb.
Well, look at how well placed Dylan Thuin is, one of the first 3 or 4 riders as they pick up Alexei Goujard from the early break. Lassie Norman Hansen has put his shoulder to the wheel. Goujard's just, not more than about 50 metres behind, and Nicholas Mace is one of the bigger riders in the group. Has treated that hill with disdain, powered up it. Thuin just goes on the front and throttles back a bit.
Well, I'm not too sure. He's a wee bit hesitant there. He's slightly exposed now, so we get the bell, 1 lap to go. Just under 12 kilometres, but if we look at this group now, they've got possibly 1 rider there from BMC, but the yellow jersey is pretty much kind of on his own, so I think it's a case of Dylan Thuin just has to settle things down, allow his team to come back to the front and try and control this, because it does look as if he was a bit exposed there.
1 lap left, less than 12 kilometres, and the final stage of Tour of Wallonie. Back after these.
The Swimming World Championships continue today, live on Eurosport 1, unlocking the next level.
Well, BMC have got control of this once more, because while we do still have 4 riders out front, 3 from the original break and 1 interloper, 1 counter-attacker, Nicholas Mace, this big man from Lotto Soudal at the back of the group here in red and white, looking anxiously over his shoulder as his 3 breakaway companions push hard once more. Alexei Goujard was found wanting a little bit on the climb last time round, but Nicholas Mace attacking out of the bunch, dragged him back up to Lassie Norman Hansen and Hub Dunn, and now they're still dangling off the front of the group. The group led now by Jempe Drucker in the points leader's jersey. Well, he sits second in that classification. He was the winner of yesterday's stage, but today you know that it's all about defending for Dylan Thuin. A typical late attack from Telenet Fidea Lions. They don't want to come and contribute as much as try and get off the front and race across the gap to the 4 riders up front in the latter stages. Inside 10 kilometres to go now on Tour of Wallonie final stage with Telenet Fidea Lions. Well, they had Thuin out front for much of the afternoon. He's back in the bunch, and indeed back behind the bunch at this moment, as the 4 riders up front include 3 from the early break: Lasse Norman Hansen, Thuin, and Alexis Goujar, the leader of the mountains competition, and they've been joined by Nicolas Mas of the Lotto Soudal squad. And that was one of those all too brief attacks off the front by the Telenet Fidea Lions squad, showing plenty of ambition, but you can see that the massed ranks of the BMC team, they've got riders back into position with Jempe Drucker, winner of yesterday's stage, leading the bunch at the moment, and that's good news for Dylan Thuin.
It is. He was slightly exposed. We're just seeing Klepper doing it for the second day in a row, trying to go off the front now. But when we came up to the line, Dylan Thuin was just sitting there. He was waiting for his teammates to come back to the front. And no real danger, no big threat for the overall at the moment. Thuin still in this breakaway, but they only got 14 seconds. He started the day 1.5 minutes down in the classification. So all these 4 riders, no real major threat initially for the yellow jersey, but it's all important to keep the team together, because they kind of lost each other. They lost the control at the front of the peloton, and now they've gained it. But it's kind of all hands to the pump as they're using Jempe Drucker, who could be potentially trying to win the stage today, but needed to control the front of the race.
So Drucker is doing a team job. Alexis Goujar, well, his legs have cried enough. 4 days out of 5 in the break this week, and eventually that starts to take its toll as Thuin has a little look around and realises that 4 have become 3. Lasse Norman Hansen is suffering in his wheel, but still equal to the task, and Nicolas Mas, the 31-year-old from the Lotto Soudal squad, has joined this breakaway group, and I suppose he offers a significant threat. It's useful for the Lotto Soudal team to have him there.
I think so. He's the freshest rider. He's come from the peloton. They're still kind of hanging on, still hanging in there with about 15 seconds advantage. But it's putting a bit of pressure on the other teams to try and do something. I don't think BMC have to worry too much. I don't think that they'll lose the yellow jersey, but there's certainly a lot of teams trying to bring these riders back, thinking of the stage win today.
Well, Nicolas Mas will do what he can to take the stage win. But either way, he offers considerable tactical potential, I suppose, for the Lotto Soudal squad. They've got riders in form in this race. Jesper de Boist, of course, took a sprint win on stage 3. And Jelle van den Dert and Tosh van der Sande are placed 4th and 5th on overall general classification. Van der Sande is just 32 seconds down. Very well placed. He's second, of course, second place overall, and Van den Dert is 4th overall at 42 seconds. So the Lotto Soudal team, plenty to hope for. But will it be another stage success for Lotto Soudal? Will it be for BMC, or will it be for one of the other teams in this bike race, with the total of 20 squads trying to put riders in there? The Team Lotto Jumbo on the front, Delco Marseille Provence well to the fore, AG Tour Le Mondial third in line, WB Varen Classic, a Quality Protect is the Dayglow yellow and black colours. And plenty of squads as BMC once more put manners on the rest of the peloton. Every time a team comes up and it slows up a little bit, they're ready to set that tempo, set the agenda, and really make it difficult for everyone else.
Yes, and Lotto NL Jumbo coming up to the front. They had 4th place yesterday with Lobato, and I think Lobato, this type of finish will suit him, so they're trying to help him out. Gouchard in the white jersey, he's got that King of the Mountains jersey on overall. I think that's Sergei Lagutin that's actually with him for Gazprom, but still 3 riders hanging on to a very slender advantage. The Gouchard is, I don't know how many lives he's had in the last lap here. He's come back to the front yet again with Lagutin, but the peloton just closely behind.
Yeah, Goujar was brought back to the group once by Nicolas Mas attacking out of the peloton, and now Lagutin has done the honours for Alexis Goujar, and his just unwillingness to give in really is admirable. I think if there's a prix de la combativity, it certainly will go to Alexis Goujar for his performances this week, because the young Frenchman has been Certainly full of fight, and he's going to get a King of the Mountains jersey. And look at, would you believe it? Who's the man? He was out the back twice, but that's he's forgotten about that completely. Fantastic stuff from Alexis Goujar of AG Tour Le Mondial.
Yeah, he doesn't want to hang around. He wants to keep on going, and obviously he got dropped, and now he's made himself. He got himself back to the front of the race and is willing to attack all the way towards the line. But BMC have got a good grip of this race. Unfortunately for Le Goutin, he's gone across to a few riders that have already made a big effort. And Gouchard continues to crack on here with BMC trying to control things at the front of the bunch.
Well, it looks like he's going to be the last man standing. If Attitude won bike races, well, Alexis Gouchard's going to have a very full palmarès at the end of his career. And certainly if he doesn't win today, this kind of attitude will stand him well in future events, because Alexis Gouchard is on the attack once more. But now with just 5.5 kilometres remaining, it seems to be all in vain. It's not a very big group behind, is it? As Nathan Van Hooydonk has cried enough in the early stages of his career. A man with a famous surname. And he has done his bit for Team BMC. As Alexis Gouchard now, with 5 kilometres remaining, looks under his left armpit and gets the... I'm not sure what news he's going to take from that. He's going to see that he's still clear of the peloton, and it's still worth pushing on.
Well, he's been here before a couple of days ago, and unfortunately it was Thuin that came past and took that victory. But the 24-year-old Frenchman hanging in there. A couple of years ago he won a stage of the Tour of Spain, so you can see he's coming back after a little bit of a break. Obviously wasn't selected to ride the Tour de France, so coming back after a little bit of a break, and he's written himself into this race, and look, he's going to come out it strong.
Yes, indeed, and he's got the Vuelta to look forward to again this year. Certainly is. While a young man, he is an accomplished rider, and that's worth making that point. Alexis Gouchard dangling off the front of the peloton. The BMC squad still have control on the front. They're setting a tempo that's just preventing too much attacking from the other squads. Just as I say it, we see AG Tour Le Mondial, the team of Alexis Gouchard, starting to gravitate towards the front. They've got 3 riders in position. The WB Veyron Classic Quality Protect squad, the yellow-clad riders just behind the AG Tour Le Mondial team. Inside 4 kilometres remaining, it's a scant 5-second advantage. It's still all to play for. Team BMC are being, well, I won't say ceded control, but the other teams are happy at this moment for them to set that tempo. It's a great effort from Gouchard, but could the bunch go quicker?
Yeah, they can, yeah. It's going to be about positioning, it's just leading out. What they want to do is get onto that climb.
Well, and we just see one of the riders just ends up in the ditch. How soft a landing was that? Well, looks as if he's going to be okay, but the, well, Verandas Willems squad have found themselves a man down. Oh, and there's several riders on the deck as Katusha also. Yes, and is that a spectator? Well, these are always difficult moments to see as the Katusha squad, I think that's Baptiste Plankert, who's fine finisher, Belgian rider with the Team Katusha squad, is holding his right shoulder with anxiety, and that's further whittled down the group. So these crashes, well, almost inevitable with the intensity of the action in the closing stages. Let's get a look at this again on the right hand side in the cycle lane, and yes, unfortunately spectator ending up on the deck, as indeed a couple of riders as well. So we hope that they all can recover as we refocus our attention on the race up front. Jempe Drucker piles it on the front, and riders are getting shelled left, right and centre at this moment. It's not going to be a very big group that goes to the bottom of the hill.
No, this is the sprint for position. We've got the chicane coming up, which will take us on to the climb. It's all about positioning. Everybody knows that, and that's why Jempe Drucker is his job. They are looking at Dylan Thuin, the yellow jersey. If he can go into this climb where he is positioned now in 3rd place, perfect positioning. You don't want to be any further back in about 10th or 12th at the moment.
Well, when they hit the bottom of the hill, they've got about a half a kilometre of climbing, of official climbing, when they go under the banner that takes them under the King of the Mountains points. Well, that will be done and dusted, and then they've got just under half a kilometre to do to the finish line. So it's a long finish for these riders, and it's going to be a very, very intense effort. What about this effort from Jempe Drucker? He's already taken a stage victory. So too has the man sitting in third place, Dylan Thuin, but he'd very much like another one. He'd like to crown his success as the winner of the 2017 Tour of Wallonie. For now, I am starting to feel that it's going to be very difficult to unseat him. With a 32-second advantage, surely no one is going to be able to take that lead from him on the approach up the final hill. 32 seconds to Tosh van der Sande of Lotto Soudal. Can van der Sande perhaps come up with the stage success? Lotto Soudal would like to put one over BMC. Those two teams have been lorded it somewhat over the peloton this week as we hit the lower slopes, and Drucker will pull across. His work is done. It's been great work indeed. AG Tour Le Mondial on the front.
Yeah, and just behind, you can see in second place Tosh van der Sande of Lotto Soudal as they come into the chicane at the bottom of the climb.
So van der Sande is just going to take the wheel almost off the rider from AG Tour Le Mondial, and that's a gap now that has to be closed by Dylan Thuin. Dylan Thuin, the overall race leader, has to sprint across this gap. It's a match burned. Van der Sande has a little look around, realises that he's got a gap, and here comes Thuin in the centre of the road up the pave. These two seem to have it between them at the moment as riders are trying to come across. Direct Energy, could that be Kokar? Well, we remain to be seen. Look at this, Dylan Thuin once more, as we saw on stage 3. Nothing to touch this man. He's on absolutely flying form, and the 23-year-old Belgian is across the top and over the worst of this climb. Tosh van der Sande able to do nothing about his fellow countryman as the BMC rider in yellow streaks away. Well, can anyone get on terms, because there's a long way to go from here?
Yeah, just under 600 metres now to the finishing line. It looks as if Thuin in the yellow jersey is going to take his second win of this year's Tour de Wallonie, because Tosh van der Sande, he tried to go with him, but everybody's legs are full of lactic at the moment, just moving across the road now, and a counter attack from Veron Classic now, but I think Thuin has got enough in his legs to seal the win.
Well, the tactical battle now is for second place on the stage, because this is a promenade, a tour to the victory for Dylan Thuin of Team BMC as they come up in ones and twos. Thuin has a little look around, and he's got so much daylight between himself and the rest. It's going to be a second stage success. It's going to be confirmation of his overall victory. Team BMC have came and they have conquered with great glory and great prominence and dominance throughout the week as Dylan Thuin gets the arms in the air and celebrates a second victory in Tour of Wallonie, as well as the overall success. He gets the win as there's a scrap for second, and who's going to get it? Well, Direct Energy will take the honours in terms of second place, but they're scrapping for minor positions. That's of little consequence. The man that has taken the win is Dylan Thuin, and he's taken it in dominant fashion. Well, they're all coming up in line astern, little to choose between them, but riders absolutely exhausted after that effort. That finishing climb really takes it out of them, but Dylan Thuin will recover quicker than most, I think. The adrenaline will take him to the podium. And another presentation. Well, some riders from Team Rompot finding themselves having to finish on Shanksmere, but no doubt about the man who got the win. Looked like Kokar in second place. Well, Direct Energy certainly got the second place on the line. Wait for full confirmation of which rider it was. But Dylan Thuin will celebrate the overall victory. The 25-year-old from Belgium, third in Flèche Wallonne this year. He certainly likes it in this part of the world. We'll be back for the podium ceremony after these.
The Sagonator's back in an unscheduled road trip, and nobody can stop the machine. Saturday night on Eurosport 2 in the Tour of Poland.